Hey, you guys, welcome back to my garden. Um, I just want to show you guys a few things in the garden. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll do a tour. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. But I do want to show you something that I don't really share that often. Um, it's actually not, I don't even really consider it a major part of the garden, if at all. And you're kind of seeing a little bit of it back there. This is a section that I don't show a lot. So I'm going to start there. I've actually never planted anything significant in this bed. The soil is not that great. I moved this lemongrass over here mainly because if you're passing by the house, like that's the front of the house over there. And so if you're passing by the house, I wanted to be able to hide like all of the utility stuff back there. Like there's the AT&T thing and the cable thing back there, I think. And I wanted to be able to hide that. So I moved lemongrass here because lemongrass can quickly take over. But other than that, I've never really planted anything because the soil is not that great and lemongrass doesn't need the best soil. And I've never amended the soil until more recently. This pretty much was like a dumping ground. I would put dirt over here that was from pots that I was no longer going to use, or just random dirt. So basically today I am actually going to start using this area. I'm going to I have these onion sets here, and I planted onion sets in another part of the yard. I actually have dispersed them throughout the garden, but I'm going to try them over here. I'm going to add a little bit of compost. I actually have already added some compost. I pulled up some amaranth and some weeds. And now I'm going to plant these onion sets here. And hopefully I can allow the onion sets to, I got these from Lowe's. I love Lowe's because they're guaranteed. You see that? 1 year guarantee. I always forget about that, but that's one thing I love about Lowe's with plants. I'm hoping to get, of course, get some onions that we can use, cook with out here, out of this. But also, I'm hoping to be able to, I'm just digging my holes here for the onion sets. I'm also hoping to allow some of them to go to seed, to flower and go to seed. The flowers are really pretty, actually. Flower and go to seed so that I can have seeds for next year and the next year and the next year and seeds to share. So that's one thing that I'm working on today. All right, so I've finally gotten all of my onion sets planted over here. What I have, here's how I remember, like for these onion sets, how I'm remembering what's what. They're in alpha order. So red onions here. There were a few white onions. I think there's 10 red onions, maybe 4 or 5 white onions, and then yellow onions in this section right here. And there were more of the yellow onions, which is great because I cook with those a lot. I like the red onions for salads, but I have another section with that as well. So let's just keep going and make this a full-on garden tour. So right here, I planted some beets, but there's a problem. Let's see, can you see this? Something has been eating the tops. This is chewed down to a nub of the beets. And I don't know what it is. I don't really have bugs over here so much. Maybe I'll try to cover those up, but I have a feeling that Mr. Tickles is back. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute when we get to the other end of the bed that I normally start with. These are banana peppers. The other day, after the rains, maybe like 2 weeks ago now, this started actually producing more, but then I noticed that there were a ton of aphids on here. Like you can see some. Let's see if I can show. Here, a leaf just fell off. Can you see the little specks? Those are aphids. You see it? All aphids. So I came out here and I blasted the plant, but it was loaded down with so many banana peppers from the rains. So I harvested a ton of those, and I'm actually going to make a curry with them today. In between here, I planted some onion seeds. Those might not do anything simply because this is not the season for onion seeds. Those you usually put out in the spring, but I'm trying things. I'm always trying something new just to see what happens. Sage is always doing great. I have more onions here. So in rows again, red, white, and yellow. And I think there's like 4 or 5 of each in this little section right here. And then more onion seeds right here. We'll talk about this in another video. This is smartweed. I want to do a video strictly about what we consider weeds, what we consider throwaway plants, and how we should reconsider how we think about that. So that's a video for another day. Peppers, peppers, peppers. I took some bells off of here. I just did another video maybe a week or so ago where I was potting up these volunteer veggies and noticed that there was fruit on here. Again, all of that happened after those rains we got. God's water is so good. I can water this. We have an irrigation system, and I can water this garden every day on a very regular basis, and I do not get the results that God's water will give. So I'm gonna let those plants right there just go until they stop producing or the fruits stop growing. I don't want to let them go through the winter because they're just going to die back, and I'd rather just come in here and cut them back myself. See, there's tons of flowers on here still, but I don't even know if they're going to do anything. And same thing happened with the habaneros. I came out here and I saw so many habaneros hanging on. This cayenne though, like look, that one back there is leaning. It's doing a cayenne lean, not a gangster lean, but a cayenne lean, and it probably just needs to be cut down. This one I'm trying to leave because, as you can see, there's tons of peppers on here. Again, thanks to God and His living water. Now, I would say about a week and a half ago, I did a video on prepping soil for the fall garden. And this section here and that section down there, before you get to the planter, and actually after the planter as well, all of that was area that I was prepping soil for. And I planted, this is all for brassicas. And I'm super duper excited because I don't always have the best luck with brassicas. But here you can see, this is cauliflower. On this side, I planted 4 cauliflower plants, maybe 5. And I'm seeing 3 little seedlings come up already. That's about it right there. Marigolds going. I need to water this baby. This is my patio baby eggplant that's still doing good things. There's a little baby. These only get, here's another little baby. How cute. These only get maybe an inch or 2 large, but plenty of flowers. Look how pretty that flower is. Plenty of flowers on there. So again, I'm a person who allows things to grow as long as they're doing well. I let them go until they stop, and then I do something else. So that's that. This is supposed to be Brussels sprouts. I've never been successful at growing Brussels sprouts, so I don't really know what they look like when they're baby seedlings, but that's what I planted in here. So I also have a bad habit of coming in and pulling stuff up when I can't remember what it is, or don't know what it's supposed to look like. I'm leaving that alone because it's in a pot. This right here is, can you see it? Very tiny. That is a sedum plant that a friend of mine sent to me, an Instagram friend. And this was completely dead. There was another one on the other side. I didn't show it to you because there's nothing happening with it. See how this is really woody right here? It's dead, but it started to get some new growth on it. Anytime I see green, I'm super duper happy. I want that to grow, and I want it to grow in this corner so that I can attract pollinators. Again, with the marigolds. This section, you can see little footprints. That's Lola's fault right there. More brassicas. On this side, it's cabbages. And I thought that nothing was gonna happen because Lola's been running up in here all the time, but look at that. That's a little cabbage. 2, 3. I saw some more down here somewhere. There we go. 4, 5. And I'm out of cabbage seeds, so I might have to go buy some more because we eat a ton of cabbage. That's just a lettuce mix right there. I didn't show y'all that on the other side. That's a lettuce mix. The other pot on the other end has mustard. And then this is more brassicas. This section is all broccoli. And again, we see things coming up. Always, always a beautiful sight to see your seedlings, your seeds actually starting to do something. So enough of that. I decided to try to grow squash in the fall and winter this year because during the summertime the vine borers are a beast. So I'm trying it in the fall and it's doing well so far. I haven't seen any flowers yet, but I see lots of little what looks like it's gonna be buds in there. um I also am trying companion planting to ward off the vine borers. So there's a couple of marigolds in there, one right there and one right there. And then this is chocolate mint because mint repels all kinds of pests. And then showed you this in a previous video, that same video where I was prepping the soil. This is just my row of beans. And of course I still have that in my black plastic. That's gonna stay down until I'm ready to put something else in here because where there's bare ground, something wants to grow. And what's gonna grow is weeds. So I'm using that plastic again over here. That is a pineapple top. I got pineapples to grow a couple of years back, and then the freeze killed them off. So I'm doing it again. That'll be like a project for me and Avery. Now we're back over here to my original 2 beds, 1 and 2. These were the first 2 that we started with in my compost bin. So the okra was not doing well during the summertime. It's never too hot for okra, so I don't really know what happened there. I have a couple of pods I probably could come and harvest, but I'm gonna let them go for a little while longer. Anyway, they started going bananas again after all of God's living water. So I left them. I'm gonna leave them until they don't produce anymore. These are pepper plants, volunteer pepper plants. I call them volunteers, but I had Tabascos over here before. A lot of times they will drop and the seeds just get worked into the soil and they pop up like this. And I let it go. I'm not gonna mess with them or anything. I did come through here though and plant some seeds. These are volunteer marigolds. Same thing happened. What I had a big marigold plant over here and it pretty much died back, but clearly there were some seeds that dropped down and those just popped up. This is garlic. I have a ton of garlic planted actually. There's garlic. There should be another one in this row. Then there's a row here of like maybe 4 to 5. Then there's a row here. There's rows. You can kind of see little divots. You see a little divot right there? That's garlic is all up and through there. Those will grow over the winter and then I'll pick them in the spring. I've been able to grow a ton of garlic in previous years, so I'm hoping that this year is another good year. Now, that's an olive tree, by the way. It's never produced olives. I'm thinking I probably need 2 in order for them to do anything. But it's pretty and the symbolism is great, so it stays. Here is the bad thing that I want to show you guys. I'm going to come out here today. This is another garden chore that I need to do. And I'm going to pick these greens. I've talked about this before, how these greens have had bug damage. You see all those, what looks like buckshots? It's either cabbage loopers or cabbage worms. It's not pretty. Actually, it kind of is. It looks kind of lacy. But what I need to do is come out here and just pick them, see which ones are still viable. I did a short video on this about how you don't have to throw out these bug damaged leaves. As long as there are no bugs still on it and you clean them really, really well, they're still edible. They're just fine. So I don't know what that is. Does that look like the bug right there? Anyway, I'm not gonna bore y'all with trying to figure out what that is, but that's my quick tip about this. I hate seeing my collard greens eaten by the bugs. First of all, these greens have lasted through 2 years. They lasted throughout the whole summer, the drought, everything. And look how huge. It's like a tree. It's leaning over again. It's doing the cabbage lean. Not the cabbage lean, the collards lean. All of them are doing that. That one. I think it's just because they're so top heavy that, you know, they just can't stand up on their own. So I'm gonna come out here, clean those up, give some to friends, freeze some, and of course, cook some. I love my greens. Switching on over here to this last garden bed. And this is the reason that I think that Mr. Tickles is back. Can you see that kale way over there in the corner? Every day, every morning, I start my day out here. I come out here and do a little stroll, have my coffee, read my Bible. And every time I come over to this section, there's like pieces of kale. I already picked it up, but you can see like pieces of kale. Can you see that? Right there. Kale, kale, but it'll be bigger pieces like the one I just showed you by the fence, like all the way over here in the grass. Nothing but kale. And I'm like, I know Lola's not getting up into that bed, biting off the kale and leaving it sprawled across the yard. I used to find Mr. Tickles up underneath there, or over here by the flowers. Like there's plenty of hiding places. That's where I used to find him. I don't see him anymore. We didn't see Mr. Tickles for a long time because Lola got a hold of one, and after that we didn't see him. But I think they're back because things like that right there are happening. So I'm gonna get out here today and pick some more of this kale, especially from the bottom, low-hanging fruit. Do the same thing as I'm gonna do with the collards. And then again, that survived the whole summer with the drought. I'm amazed by it. Same thing with this Swiss chard. This is rainbow Swiss chard.
I planted
We've
some
been
turnip
eating
greens.
off this every single week, pretty much. My husband and my son absolutely love it. And I love it in soups and stews, and it's just delicious, and it's so pretty when you cook it up. So that these greens are typically cool weather veggies. So naturally, these are not coming out for the fall. They're gonna stay in here. I'm just gonna see how long they're gonna go. I'm just amazed that they made it through the summer. So on this end right here, I just threw out the seeds because those seeds are so tiny that, you know, I don't want to try to sow in nice little neat rows. I just kind of toss them out there like my grandparents did. And what pops up, and then I'll thin them later if I need to. Same thing over here. I have more root vegetables. I tried to grow some cucumbers for the fall, but they never came up. They were right here, right in here. And so because I'm still hopeful that they will do something, when I planted my carrots, I planted them here and here, leaving that space in the middle for the cucumbers. And then when I planted the radishes, I planted those kind of like in a diagonal going right here. So all root vegetables over here. And that'll be really good for the soil too come spring because it'll kind of aerate the soil. And then that's pretty much it. I still got my compost going. Y'all don't want to see that because there's a ton of bugs in there. That's the asparagus fern from the front yard. As a matter of fact, let's go take a look at that. That's something that I have not shared yet. Okay, real quick, let's go up to our front garden, which I rarely share. But last year, I think it was, I decided that I wanted to use all the space that I have available to me. So this is the front bed in front of our house. Let's see. I'll go on the other side and show you like exactly where this is located. By the way, we did a thing out here. This sidewalk is very new, but very
Since our
handy.
backyard is
So
not really that large,
that right there is garden bed in front of our house. There used to be, so of course there's these boxwoods and, you know, regular bushes. I forget what those are called. Anyway, and there was another set of bushes back behind there that died off in the freeze. What was that? 3 years ago? Anyway, they died off, so those had to come out. And then last year I decided that I wanted to use this area to grow more food because I can come up here and put some things up here. Now, real quick tip. Do not, I just cleaned this bed out. Here's some of what came out of there. I don't know if you can see that because it's in the shade. But these are amaryllis. That's amaryllis leaves. They're beautiful, but unless you have a bed completely dedicated to amaryllis, don't plant them in the ground. They're all throughout the ground here because I made that mistake. Do as I say, not as I do. Made the mistake of planting several of my amaryllis here, and they grow by rhizomes underneath the ground. There's no way to get rid of them. I just cut them down, cut them back every year, but there's no way to get rid of them fully and completely unless you dig them up, which means digging up the entire bed. So I just cleaned out this bed, like I said, and those are just the leaves and the weeds and everything that were in there. This right here, you guys, is asparagus. And it's fall, so I grew these from seed. I am growing these from seed. It's fall, so it's time for me to come in and cut these back. I think I put in 4 seeds and like 3 of them. Actually did 2 of them only. Actually did something, but this is the fern portion of it. Takes 3 years to actually get asparagus out of it. So another one of the chores I'm going to do today is to come in here and cut these back. In the fall, you're supposed to cut them back as maybe 1 to 2 inches above the soil and then mulch around them. So I'm going to do that. And I've also planted some, not asparagus, artichoke seeds up here. Now, I planted these up here because I needed them to be in a place where I would leave them alone because I've never grown them before. And if y'all know me, you know that I fret over my plants. Like I may overwater them because I'm constantly worried, are they getting enough? We actually are not up here a lot. Like I'm not up here nearly as much as I am in the backyard. So it's easy for me to just set it and forget it up here. Let the sprinklers run. I don't think about it too much. And so we do come up here and sit from time to time, just not a lot. So this makes it really easy for me to plant those things and leave them alone and let them do what they're gonna do. So that was just a quick little update from the front of the house. Also, I didn't want to use these other beds. Like this had shrubs all in it as well, but again, they died off in the freeze. Didn't want to use this bed or that one over there because I didn't want to have to deal with the HOA. You know, they have all these rules on how many shrubs you have to have, how many trees you have to have. What can you grow up here? So I just keep my potato vines up there and that's it. Everything else I'm going to keep hidden back here. Here you can see how the asparagus actually grows. Look, it's not focusing in for me, but that's an asparagus root. And then the fronds will grow up. If you just let it go, the fronds will grow up out of that tip. So the fronds will grow up out of this tip right here. Show you another one. This one, let's see, a lot lower to the ground. Let's see if I can show it to you. Right there. This little baby. That is a little tiny baby asparagus. Okay, so we're back in the backyard, specifically on the patio. The last thing I'm going to do, probably not today, but the last thing that I'm going to do is move my herbs, specifically the lavender, the heat-loving herbs, the lavender, maybe the basil. That is oregano. I'm going to move these. I also have some dill. That's dill I'm trying to grow again, and cilantro I'm trying to grow again. I've not been able to grow those successfully from seed, but I'm trying it again this year. Never give up, you guys. Never, ever give up on growing. Seeds cost next to nothing. You can actually save your own, whatever. This is a tomato plant. They're starting to lean over. I think it's because it's reaching for the sun. So, oh, and the wind. Oh, my goodness. So anyway, I'm going to move those out into the garden someplace. I will probably put the pots like somewhere over there in between the brassicas because they also help to repel, they like the sun, first of all, but they also help to repel some bugs, some pests. The other thing is we get frogs up in between. I don't buy plant stands. The reason why is because I can do things like this. Pile up some bricks. That was a little stool for my kid. That was a little outdoor table. You know, I don't need to buy specific plant stands. that are so, some of them are very, very pretty, very nice, but also very expensive. Anyway, we get a ton of frogs, which is a good sign. You want frogs in your garden because they eat pests and they just are part of the ecosystem. But they'll be all up back behind there. And on the other side of this wall is our master bedroom. And they are so loud at night. So that's the other reason I'm going to move these out into the garden with the rest of their plant friends. So that's pretty much it for this garden update. Pretty tired. Been out here since 7 o'clock this morning. I love it out here, but I just want to sit and chill. And there actually is kind of a chill in the air. So I'm inside instead of sitting on the patio back there because in the shade it's quite it's a little bit chilly. So I don't want to be chilly. I want to be comfy. That's why I'm out here in the sun. Um, but that's pretty much it for me in the garden today, you guys. If you have any questions about anything I'm growing out here, or how I plan things out, or anything at all, like how I deal with bugs. I don't deal with bugs very well at all, but anything at all, drop me a note down in the comments. If you like this video, please like this video. And please, as always, if you like this video, subscribe and tell your friends about it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.